right, we're looking at What If episodes 7 and 8. Let's kind of go around. I guess episode 7 was What If Thor was an only child. Sarah, what did you think?
I just what I like is I feel like these are just getting a little bit better and better. I mean, it's been a little hit or miss, but these last two I've really enjoyed watching. It was just kind of like a fun little short. But one thing that I didn't get out of Thor Were an Only Child, I didn't fully believe that he would have been such that stereotypical spoiled little brat, because his dad was the way he was. I don't think his dad would have allowed him to be such a spoiled little rotten thing. And I feel like they just kind of took that and ran with it. But also the people that were around him never played as that spoiled or enabling. And now they're all very enabling and spoiled as well. So I don't know, but it was fun. It was a fun watch. It was interesting and fun, and yeah.
Chip?
That's about it.
Well, you think Odin might have realized where he went wrong with Hela, so he decided he didn't want to be as hard on Thor and just let Thor get away with a lot of stuff. So if you look at it from that perspective, I thought it was fun. I enjoyed the interplay with him and Loki as the frost giant. I enjoyed the whole thing with Frigga, the mom, all of that. That was all really good. Yeah, but it was totally throwaway though. Like I don't feel like it furthered any story along or made anything, gave us any insight into anything. It was just kind of, a throwaway story, which is fine. I mean, it was entertaining.
Yeah.
The next one I have many thoughts on.
Yeah, I liked this one. I thought it was funny. Whereas a lot of the other ones for me, the humor hasn't worked very well. I thought the humor in this one was pretty good. It was definitely lighter, except for the very, very end, obviously. I liked some of the twists, like instead of him being in the desert, they started in Las Vegas. They're really playing off of,
which is the desert, in the desert, but
right, but instead of just in the middle of the desert, in a city, in a city known for partying, and what stays in Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
It was like he was in college, like on a college break, because his mom was like, "What did you learn?"
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was definitely a play off of fat Thor from Endgame and Infinity Wars, and so
he was broken. Like, it took a lot to get to that point. Like, he was a broken man at that point.
Right, and that was the way he coped with it. But I thought it was pretty funny. The Top Gear references I thought were kind of funny. Her calling him White Snake. When Captain Marvel called him White Snake, almost like a play on the Point Break thing that Thor had. So yeah, it was definitely not. I'll kind of feed into the next one. These have been my two favorites, hands down. Bless you. I haven't really cared about the others that much. There was some stuff here and there I liked. We've kind of discussed that in the past. So I like that one. And the second one, the end of this episode has Ultron come out with the 5 stones, and so built in, and I like how they went into the next episode, which I'm thinking is probably going to happen. The 8th episode was called What If Ultron Had Won? I wonder if it's going to happen as well, where it's probably going to feed into.
There is an arc in the comics, and I'm assuming it's pretty modern, where the Watcher assembles a team of Avengers to fight somebody. And I don't know if it was Ultron or not, but that's obviously what they're going with, because he's already got the Sorcerer Supreme, the Doctor, or the
Right.
Supreme Doctor Strange, who destroyed his own world and all of that. So they'll go grab they may get Thor, the brotherless Thor, and who knows else down the line. So that'll be the next episode easily.
So that one with the Watcher, I'm taking it that was that the thing that happened right before? Oh,
I think it was the age.
Codex or whatever, the one where the Watcher gets killed.
That's Original Sin, so it was before that.
Right.
So it's probably like Age of Ultron or something. I have Age of Ultron down here. I've just never bothered to read it.
I liked that. I've read that a couple times. There were a few things in this. It's a little more like the story in the comics. I mean, this one than it was in the movie. But did you like this episode, or you didn't?
No.
What I liked about it is that the Watcher had a larger role in it, and you could see his genuine concern, and I liked that it was a little more actiony. I found it to be slightly more unpredictable than the other ones. Like, I didn't expect Ultron to be able to break through to where the Watcher was, but having seen that, like, I'm wondering how, when this ends, which parts of any of it are going to play a role in the upcoming movies that are coming. Because I don't know, like, if they end with the Watcher assembling his own little Avenger team to fight this,
I hope to God it has nothing to do with the future movie.
Ultron. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of interesting because he could essentially bring back the characters that have died, like what we talked about that possibly they're going to do in the upcoming movies. But I mean, he could pull anybody out. So
he'll bring Captain Carter. She'll end up in it. And who knows who else, but I thought it was a little too much of breaking of the fourth wall. Like, I like the Watcher telling the stories. I don't need the Watcher to be an active participant. And I just thought it was a little, and why also, why couldn't two other people survive other than Black Widow and Hawkeye? It's like, I don't know. I feel like they're overusing them now.
Well, I think they wanted to. Part of it was obviously the switch, whereas instead of Wanda sacrificing herself, Hawkeye sacrificed himself. But yeah, for that being the only,
they were the only ones to survive.
Yeah, but that's a long way to go just for that.
Yeah.
But that's what, like, essentially their characters are survivors. I mean, they're both those little assassins, like, creeping around. You don't even know they're there. Like, that's the whole point of them.
So, I just thought of this. We never even talked about the Killmonger episode of What If, and that's probably a good thing.
I thought we did.
I don't remember talking
about it. We talked about the two together.
I don't think we did.
We spent more time on the other. Did we not?
I don't think we did. But once again,
I'm kind of.
I don't think anybody's going to complain.
Maybe maybe I blacked that part out.
I didn't need that one either.
That's what I mean. Comparing, not that I love these two episodes. If I had to pick one, the last episode is probably my favorite one.
It had the best action. It had the best story.
It had the best jokes, and a lot of them, even this one, have a little too much where to me, they shove too many characters in there. I mean, it's a 30-minute show. I think they should, all of them, if I was going to think of something that I think kind of held it back, all of them, to me, kind of tried to do too much, because there were quick wrap-ups on things that were just like, I mean, how Thanos, how does he get the 5? Get rid of a cat.
No kitty pride.
She's just, and then, now she's getting over my aunt. She's just been today. I haven't been home. And so she's like been weird.
She's mad at you.
She's always mad at me. She doesn't like the treats I've got her. How bougie. I will put them out. Looks at me. Like, I don't like these as much as the last.
She's like, what's this shit?
It's just
Dad.
like, goofball cat. You're not like the Kitty Pryde of the X-Men. She's got a better. But what was I saying? Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of all these. They've all done too much, but like the whole thing where Thanos walks out and he just cuts him in half and takes all the stones. I mean, it's that kind of stuff where I'm just kind of like, we just had 2 movies of him trying to get stones, and then you cut that up into like 15 seconds.
But just like Thanos said, you should have went for the head. If Thor had hit him in the head with that axe, we wouldn't have had the next movie. We wouldn't have needed it. But so it just shows that Ultron's smarter than the Avengers, therefore he deserves to win.
Well, there may be some proof of that.
Well, he's more precise. I mean, he's not doing anything with feeling, I think is a better way to put it. Because he's got no attachment. He doesn't care. He's just serving his own needs. So he's seeing the quickest way to bring
peace.
Well, it did have although they didn't reinforce it that much, and just thinking of storytelling and hierarchies, which incidentally, this is a completely other thing. A lot of storytelling has lost that, which I think that's why it's not as good, is because I think there's something primal in us that responds to a lot of those kind of things. Even if it's a couple, not to go too much into that, but the idea of got to have a purpose. He had to have a purpose, and this is what his purpose was. And then when he thinks his purpose is done, he sort of starts to. I was going to go, man. I was like thinking, is this going to go real nihilistic again? And then he's like, oh wait, multiverse. I can go destroy everybody in Middle.
Yeah.
So at least it had that element of it, which I thought, okay. But the thing that I also thought was weird was when it opens up and he has Vision, he's got Vision's body underneath, so now he has a corporal body. He looked a little bit like Kang to me. Every time it would pop up, he almost looked a little more like Kang than he did Vision.
Well, I mean, he had the whole, like he's the Vision, and then he's got the old school, like they made the armor to make him kind of look like the old Ultron.
Right.
So it's kind of like that combo did look kind of odd.
Well, and the Ultron was definitely, to me, it's a little more of a nod towards the comics than it was actually the movie.
So I had thoughts about it. Like, do we know who the ultimate bad guy is going to be in the multiverse of madness right now? Do we have an idea?
I thought it was Kang.
Okay.
The multiverse, I don't know. Yeah, it isn't going to be Ultron or any of that. God,
why not?
Watching it, because it'll be shit if they do that.
So, but what if this guy is part of it? I mean, because ultimately this is all supposed to be part of the multiverse spreading out all these things. So now he's broken in with the Watcher. Like right now, and I get the Kang part because we already know, because they've said
it's not going to be Ultron, because this is a what if, and Ultron was defeated.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So they're not going to bring back. They're not going to bring back Ultron.
But this is the multiverse of madness, and he is already broken in.
They're not gonna. Yeah, but
they're not going to tie these into the movies, really.
I think they're going to. Well, I think they're going to do short. If they do those type of throwbacks, for the most part, they're going to be short throwbacks. You know what I mean? I don't think you're not going to have movies built around like variant, like the first, like Loki from Avengers come back and do something. I think it would be, that's what I feel. I feel they're going to, so like Vision, when we see Vision now, it's going to be Vision in the white suit, which is a throwback to, before WandaVision. That's actually a West Coast Avengers deal. But I think so when you see characters, I think the references are going to be like that. I think they'll have things pop up, but I just think I just don't think they'll do that kind of stuff.
I don't know. I think that like it's obviously it's wide open. They're going to do whatever they want.
But the Eternals coming. And then from out of that, you're going to have the Celestials. And they know, the rumor is that with Fantastic Four coming on, we'll have Galactus, Silver Surfer, and we'll definitely with them also the Negative Zone, and you'll have Annihilus. So those are the other big bads, and we know that everything's going Marvel Cosmic from here.
Right.
As soon, so
They like Adam Warlock hasn't come up. You still have that. That's what I mean. I can't see them going back because there's so many things that are already showing. They're showing that it's growing, not
everything's
start going back.
Everything's already planned out. We're just guessing. They already know. They've already got it planned out. I mean, they were planning stuff like, what was it that just came up that we were like, oh, like stuff in the 10 Rings. I mean, the 10 Rings was part of this the whole time,
Yeah.
There's a new
Kevin
show.
Feige's a freaking genius. That's all I gotta say.
Well, so there's a new show on Disney Plus called Assembled. There's 3 episodes, and one's how they made WandaVision, one's how how they've done the 3 live action ones. I've watched part of the one on how they did WandaVision. She just knocked over some of my equipment. But
She's
anyway,
mad at you.
it's all about her. Just ask her. But one of the things that Kristen Olsen said was
Elizabeth Olsen.
What's her name? Which Olsen is it?
Elizabeth.
Is it Elizabeth Olsen? That's right. Elizabeth. That's right. Anyway, one of the things that she said about it was that even back in when they were making Age of Ultron movie, that they purposely, she said, we were already putting in Easter eggs. Didn't know if we would go there, but they already had those plans. That she said there are scenes where I would hold my look longer on Vision. He would hold his look longer on. Yeah. She's like, that, there were things that were purposely done.
But anybody who had read the comics knew that there was the Vision and Scarlet Witch. I mean, that's the whole thing,
Well, and they had consciously made a decision to make their love affair have no irony in it, or the rest, because she said everything else is irony. So we're just going to have a normal relationship, or try to have a normal relationship. And then that's kind of what they build on WandaVision. But to your point, they are laying the groundwork, and Feige has enough knowledge of this stuff to where, they're laying those little, you go back and rewatch stuff and you're like, wow. And one of the things I think that makes it work and why it's good storytelling is the characters have their defined, for the most part, have their defined short, small frames of reference. What I mean is, Iron Man does this. Iron Man feels this way about Captain America. Iron Man feels this way about Hulk. Iron Man. That all stays. They all have, and they're all sort of in line. And it allows different directors to come in and continue on. You have the same actors, but it keeps a certain there's a believability and a growth to those characters across all of the projects. And
one thing that's super interesting, because I've watched it a bunch of times because it's been on, watch the Avengers. And the Avengers movie, because it was the first thing that Joss Whedon did. He didn't direct any of the other movies. They all act out. They're not acting like they normally act. Like the whole thing of Tony Stark being super aggressive, and he goes, we need a plan. I have a plan, attack. Tony Stark would not say that. That is not Tony Stark from those first 2 movies at all.
He's a winging it guy.
That's just Joss Whedon basically being an asshole and going, oh, I'm going to make my movie the way I want to make my movie. Because he doesn't act right. Captain America doesn't act right. The only person he's really got nailed is Thor. Because he's got Thor, if one of them's going to be funny, it's going to be Thor. And it makes sense because he's kind of like the big oaf. So that's fine. But Captain America acted out of character, and so did Iron Man, enough to where it takes me out of the movie. Like I'm like, yeah, I remember this. This doesn't make sense. This isn't right. And that's just, but
right.
But other than that, yes, they're very, and the Russo brothers did that. When the Russo brothers made the movies, they're like, Captain America acts like this and Iron Man acts like this, so they made, in my opinion, the better movies.
Right.
you know.
Well,
And trust me, you know, I was a Josh Whedon fan. I liked his stuff. I just always felt like not so much in Age of Ultron, but Avengers, there was just a lot of stuff that was out of character.
that's one that I haven't watched in a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
I'll go back. I've watched Age of Ultron a few times. I watched Endgame, and the two that I've seen the most, hands down, are Endgame and Infinity War, because they're both just so well.
Go back and watch Captain America: First Avenger. That is a better movie than you originally thought it was.
I did watch that not too long ago. It holds up. It really does hold.
It holds up really well. It's the best of it, and Iron Man are the two best origin stories.
Yeah, I totally agree. And
Iron Man, of course, is better than it, but I mean, it's definitely.
Except for Shang-Chi, because Shang-Chi I think is better.
Shang-Chi was really good, but Shang-Chi was no Iron Man, or I mean, nah, no. Iron Man, the original Iron Man is still probably the best of the single character movies in the MCU. You can make an argument for Shang-Chi being in their second or third, but
no,
yeah.
I would not put Shang-Chi in the top. Maybe I wouldn't put it in the top 5. Not even.
Oh, really?
No, not even. I would not put it in the top 5.
Well, Winter Soldier's so good.
That's what I mean.
And Civil War is really good.
Exactly.
Iron Man 2 is not that good.
Which one?
Iron Man 2 is not that good.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch, but it doesn't hold up to scrutiny very well because there's not a whole lot of story there. But of course, it was written by Justin Theroux, so it's kind of what you get. Let's see.
Sick burn, Chip.
Huh?
It's sick burn.
The first Guardians, fantastic. One of my favorite ones. I mean, I will go back and rewatch those movies, and they all stand up.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy and Ragnarok are the ones that we keep watching.
Ragnarok's good too. For me, I don't like it as much as other people because it's a little frivolous. I mean, it's a little too.
It's just a fun watch. It's not.
Yeah,
like...
it is, but I like the Guardians is a good example of that. He walked that line really well. It doesn't, and that ensemble for Guardians is why that works so well. It just clicks. It's funny and it has enough action. It has such a good blend across the board. Winter Soldier is just a 70s
good
movie, and it's great. It's that one. I watched that again, and it really holds up as well.
And Winter Soldier brings up the good point of who is Nick Fury? Really Nick Fury, or when is the Skrull playing Nick Fury? That there's some stuff in that makes you go back and forth. You're like,
see, I didn't think about that. I need to go back. It's funny. You can go back and watch some of that stuff and think.
I'm surprised. I mean, like I heard people talk about it just tertiarily on some YouTube videos, but I'm surprised nobody's gone and said, okay, here's all the Nick Furies. When was he Skrull? Because when he was talking to them in Age of Ultron at Clint Barton's house, that was the Skrull Nick Fury because he eats the toast. And remember,
Maybe
I guess it kind of turned into we were all watching the soccer game, and then it was just But one of the guys got exceptionally drunk, and they had been playing 90s hip hop and 90s R&B, and he decided that we needed to play Metallica or Pantera.
And then he went the completely opposite direction and was wanting to play Miley Cyrus. So
He was drunk and
now I'm offended.